Hey friends, Cassidy Carson here, and if you've been following along for the last couple of weeks, you'll know that I've been trying to promote the romance that my husband and I co-wrote, From Tundra to Tiara, as a potential number one or a hit for the holiday season. So far we're gaining no traction on this, but that doesn't mean I can't keep trying, and it's something fun for me to do for the holidays. If nothing else, it will be memorable when I look back on these recordings in the future. I can laugh about how silly I was being about this book. But the idea of selling this book as a number one or as a gift idea for the holidays started with the Uncle Billy storyline in the movie Love Actually, which I find really funny because he's an older, kind of washed up musician who would like his song, which is a remake of the song Love Is All Around Us, where they've changed the lyrics to Christmas is all around us, and he calls it a festering turd of a record. So he wants that to be number one for Christmas. And what I didn't realize, and what I finally researched today, was the fact that in Ireland and the UK, it is a very big deal to have a number one song on Christmas. And the record labels and acts themselves do promote themselves as potential number ones for Christmas. So with Uncle Billy, obviously, it was for the storyline in the movie. And the movie it revolves around a lot of different love stories. His love story is actually rather sweet. So if you haven't seen Love Actually, I do recommend you check it out. But the idea of having a number one song for the holidays goes back to 1952 when the UK singles charts first started, and they began tracking the songs that did become number one over the holidays. They weren't always Christmas songs. They weren't always novelty songs. And there have been some very interesting acts over the years who have made number one. In 1957, it was Harry Belafonte. In 1963 to 1965, not surprisingly, it was the Beatles. 1975, it was Queen. In 1981, it was the Human League with a song called Don't You Want Me Baby. So if you're not familiar with that song, check it out. That's not really a Christmas song. In 1992, it was Whitney Houston with I Will Always Love You. In 2004, it was Band Aid 20, which was released in 1984, obviously, and I believe it charted sometime in the 1980s. But Band Aid, Do They Know It's Christmas, has charted multiple times over the years. From 2018 to 2022, it was an act called Lad Baby, who is a YouTuber, musician, and blogger that I believe he had some novelty songs that charted for those years. And in 2023, finally, surprisingly, after I think about 40 years, Wham's Last Christmas made number one for Christmas. And it seemed to have been the first time it did that in the UK. The Irish pop charts began in 1962. And over the years, those also had a variety of acts. 1962 was Elvis Presley. 75 was Queen. 81 was ABBA. 96 was 1996 was the Spice Girls. 2004 was also Band Aid 20. Now, the UK and the Irish charts don't always overlap. There have been a few occasions, but for the most part, they've been very separate with different acts on different year, or different acts at the same year. But Band Aid 20, it was the same year. And then in 2021, it was a song that Ed Sheeran and Elton John did together. Now, for both the UK and Irish charts over the years, there have been a variety of reality stars and novelty acts who have charted for Christmas. From 2006 to 2013 in Ireland, every number one was a reality star, I believe a winner of the X Factor. In the UK, from 2002 to 2014, it was also reality TV contestants. Some of them came from Pop Stars The Rivals, and between 2005 and 2014, for 7 times, it was someone from the X Factor. So I found that interesting that both the UK and Ireland have a very robust holiday competition going on for the number one song at Christmas. And the charts are usually the week ending. So if Christmas falls within a week whatever the last day of the week is, even if that day happens to be Christmas, that is the week that they're covering. It's not the week prior to, it's the week ending. So it is a little bit confusing, but it's interesting. And in the US, we do have obviously a lot of pop charts. We have the Billboard charts and things like that. And I don't know that we really think about it much anymore. I used to listen to Casey Kasem on the weekends in the American Top 40. I believe that was Casey Kasem. And it was a much bigger deal to me then. So maybe I am out of the loop and I'm not really keeping track of when things chart or, what's on top or things like that. So it's kind of a fascinating background to the music industry and how it differs between the UK, the Ireland, and the United States. So I hope maybe this has been interesting for you. I definitely found it interesting. I was reading off some of the things to JT as I was doing the research, and we found some of the songs very funny, including things like the Human League's Don't You Want Me Baby. I mean, it was very much a product of the time, I think. So as I said before, definitely go check that out if you haven't heard it before. But in the meantime, with all that being said, then hopefully you'll see a little bit more about where I'm coming from on this. I hadn't really thought about the background of Uncle Billy trying to become #1 for Christmas and how big a deal it truly is in the UK. And since Love Actually takes place in mostly London, they do some storylines. For example, Jamie does end up in France at one point, I believe. But most of it does take place in the UK. So it makes sense that this is a big deal. It's a big storyline in Love Actually. So hopefully you learned a little something new from that. If you haven't watched Love Actually, it is a recommended movie from me. But I do know that some people find it problematic, and there are some storylines in the movie that do make me cringe a little bit now. But it is something that I do tend to watch most years, along with a few other movies like Die Hard. We can get into the Is Die Hard a Christmas movie discussion if you want. But in the meantime, back to From Tundra to Tiara. I hope you'll check it out as a potential #1, especially if you're watching this from the UK or Ireland. I think it'd be cool. I know obviously, you wouldn't have any effect on the United States, but it is available in various places overseas. And it will also be on sale for 99 cents starting on Black Friday going through to Cyber Monday. So that's November 29th through December 2nd, I believe. 99 cents for the ebook version of From Tundra to Tiara on Amazon. So I will be posting more about that in the next few days. But in the meantime, thanks for following along. If you've made it this long, I hope you learned something interesting, and I'll talk to you later.